Hello everyone, it is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon, and today we're looking at another new deck from Fates Collide, and in fact it's going to be looking at a new main attacker and a new Mega Evolution Pokemon, which, to be fair, I think I've undersold. In playtesting, Mega Audino has been a lot better than I'd hoped, which is actually really cool. So this is the list that I've got for now, and we will go through the decisions as usual. So first of all, we will look at Mega Audino. The whole deck is based around the Mega. 220 HP is pretty nice. It's on the same level as things like Mega Yveltal. And we know that some decks struggle to one-hit KO this Pokemon, so this is really, really good. It's awkward for things like Night March. They have to commit a lot of Night Marches to the discard pile. We know that the majority of Night March players are just playing Fighting Fury Belt now, so having the 220 is a lot better than 210 that some other Mega Evolutions have. So 220 is a nice number, very tanky for Mega Audino. And the Magical Symphony attack is a really good one. 110 damage is fine. We're doing 2-hit KOs on the majority of EXs and Megas, even stuff like Zygarde. So this is really nice. Even with stuff like Fighting Fury Belt, we are comfortably 2-hitting everything that we need. And also hitting 110, as we know, is great for dealing with Shaymin EXs. So it's a really good attack. And then if you play a supporter from your hand during that turn, you get to do a 50 damage snipe to the bench. And don't apply weakness and resistance, of course, but being a normal type anyway, it doesn't ever apply weakness and resistance right now in the format. I don't think there's nothing that has weakness to Colorless right now. So 50 snipe is really good. I remember saying in the set review for this that it would be insane if it was a 60 damage snipe, because you could threaten Shaymins for 2-hit KOs. And you may have noticed in the opening screen that I'm actually playing Fright Night Yveltal, because that does a snipe for 60. So we can threaten Shaymin EXs so nicely with the combination of Magical Symphony plus Pitch Black Spear from Fright Night Yveltal. So that's really what we look to do. And in other matchups, when they're not playing down Shaymins, just a 50 damage snipe is so good. Against stuff like Night March, you can deal with Joltik and Mew, you can deal with Zubats, you can deal with Combis, you can deal with so many low HP things quite easily with just the 50 damage snipe. And even just against other EX decks, you can sometimes do 110 to the active and 50 to the bench, then knock out something in a 2-shot, so 110 again to knock out the active EX, and then place that 50 to put the next EX onto 100 damage, so then one more Magical Symphony will finish off 2 EXs. So you're killing 2 EXs in 3 hits rather than 2 hitting 2 EXs. So the snipe is really big. It's really good, and I've highly undervalued this 50 damage snipe. It's actually phenomenal. So yeah, this is a really good attack, and we're basing the whole deck around this attack basically. It does have a weakness to fighting, so that's awkward. We know that a lot of fighting decks are popping up right now, so that's something that we have to play around. That's one of the main reasons why we have such a thick non-EX Yveltal line, because they actually resist fighting to sort of balance it out a little bit. But there's still things that we could play. I'll get into that later on in the section where I talk about other options for the deck, but that's something to bear in mind. The 3 retreat cost is kind of chunky. That's why you can see the float stones and the switch as well, so, and of course AZ, so we have to play around that a little bit. We do have the regular Audino EX, which is still worth noting. 180 is on the good side for most EXs. Drain Slap does 20 and heal 20 from self. It's not really ever going to be enough damage to be relevant, to be honest. So that's not great. But Do the Wave does do 60 plus 10 more for each of your benched Pokemon. I quite often find myself going to a full bench quite easily. Being a Mega Evolution deck, we often use Hoopa to find a lot of other things, so that naturally fills up our bench quite quickly. So Do the Wave is also good for most of the time, getting 2 hit KOs for a double Colorless and 1 extra energy. We're playing Dark. Being a fully Colorless attack and a Colorless Pokemon means Audino could be paired with so many things, so I really had to sit down and focus on what sort of build I wanted to make for the Audino. I've tried the Fairy build, I've tried it almost like the Aqua Box deck that we've seen with like Manaphy to help us retreat around and stuff like that, but I've chosen to go for the Yveltal and the Dark combination of things because they offer quite a lot for this deck specifically. So we are playing a 2-2 split of the baby Yveltals. We can only have 4 total Yveltal because they share the same name. They both have 130 HP. This is the Oblivion Wing Yveltal, giving us a nice bit of energy acceleration to our benched Pokemon. Getting that extra attachment can be really great. You can see we're only playing the 1 Mega Turbo because Oblivion Wing can get us there quite comfortably. That resistance to fighting is a big deal as well, so very good stuff. We have non-EX Yveltal in here. We know it's amazing against Night March. We know it's amazing against Trevenant as well. So this really helps us out. Really, really good stuff. And we combine it with 2 Fright Night Yveltal. You have to be very careful with this card, I found out in testing, because be careful about putting Spirit Links and then going Mega if you have Fright Night Yveltal. This is a mistake that I made like in my first game with the deck, and I was like, wait, I just ended my turn, oops. So yeah, be aware of Fright Night Yveltal's ability. It can work badly for you because you need to have your Spirit Links that work, of course, so sometimes you have to Hex Maniac yourself just to stop Fright Night, which is a weird thing, but Fright Night Yveltal, just the ability alone, is really good against stuff like Vespiquen Valplume. You can see we are playing the higher count, we're playing 2 Lysandre in this deck, so we have good options to Lysandre up the Valplume, and Fright Night shuts off their Floatstone, so they have to find their 1 AZ if they are playing something similar to Tamal Cameron's Nationals winning list. So yeah, bear that in mind. Fright Night's great for sort of stalling. It's good for stalling in general. A lot of decks are focused around the Floatstone mechanic, so we can nullify that effect and keep chunky things in the active position a lot more, which is great for us. And then the Pitch Black Spear, that's a mouthful, does for a dark and 2 colorless, so pretty much the same cost as the Audino's attack, Magical Symphony. We get to do 60 to the active and 60 to a bench EX Pokemon. For those of you watching the American stream, it can only do EXs, so bear that in mind. It's on the card, the text is right there. So yeah, 60-60, that's really good. Again, we're combining it with Magical Symphonies to deal with Shaymin EXs quite often. It's a really annoying Pokemon to play around, this Fright Night Yveltal. It has a good amount of HP as a non-EX. It puts good pressure on the active Pokemon whilst also dealing with bench Pokemon. So as an attacker, he's really great. Also, just against stuff like Night March, you can throw him into the active position just to nullify Fighting Fury Belts. So these Oblivion Wings always work. Also, we are playing a full complement of 4 double colorless energy, so sometimes we can Sky Return into a empty Fright Night Yveltal to knock out things like Joltik, so do bear that in mind. It's a play that I often do go for whilst we are setting up the Audino, because Audino is big and tanky and it can take these snipes as well. So just throwing Fright Night Yveltals into the active can be awkward for Night March. So I'm very happy with the 2-2 split. I find myself using this attack quite often in a lot of matchups, but in matchups where they're not so EX heavy, we just throw him in the active to nullify tools, which is great. We are also playing a 1-1 line of Zoroark. I'd like to have this thicker sometimes because it offers so much, but at the same time, I think 1-1 is cheeky enough to get away with, and the bench size, like I keep saying, it fills up pretty quick, so we only really have space for the 1-1. He offers us the stand-in ability. We have chunky things, the 3 retreat of the Audino, the 2 retreat cost of both of our Yveltals, so we can't just Floatstone this guy either because, you know, we shut off our own Floatstones, so put it on the Zoroark instead, and we can just stand in when we need to, which is absolutely fantastic. It gives us back our Spirit Links to work again, so that's a pretty big deal. And Mind Jack as well. We're playing for double colorless. We know that it's a great option in any deck that plays double colorless energy, so that 10 plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon is great for so many different reasons. Really, really good attack, so I think it's definitely worth having a 1-1 in here. It's just a really good option for this deck. So, being a Mega Evolution deck, we are using Hoopa. The Scoundrel Ring is still a phenomenal ability. It gets us into our Audinos quite consistently, and it can get us Shaymin EXs to draw us into more cards. Shaymin EX, we are playing double colorless, so Sky Return is always an option for us if we are up against something like Trevenant, or just anything really. It's still a really good option. Like I say, combining it with Fright Night makes it a threat against Night March as well, so we can clear our board of Shaymin EXs, which is pretty cool. Next up, onto the trainers. We are playing 1 switch. I like having a physical switch over just 3 Floatstone because of Fright Night Yveltal. We need to have physical switches in here. So we have a full count of like 4 basically. AZ, 1 switch and 2 Floatstone to move things, but bear in mind Floatstone doesn't always work with Fright Night. You have to be aware of this, so having a physical switch is nice. Just 1 Mega Turbo. I feel like we have enough acceleration with the Oblivion Wing quite often. Sometimes we can have this backseat approach and just attach for turn and Mega Evolve for the turn. I end up actually doing that quite a bit in this deck because we can just sit with a Fright Night in the active quite often as it threatens its own output and what have you. So we can just protect the Audino on the bench a little bit. So I don't feel like we always need like a full 4 Mega Turbo to be super aggressive, but at the same time I like having the option to get the 1 in there when we need to. Seeing as though we're already going to get Darks in the discard pile for Oblivion Wing, it just seems to work quite nicely for getting a chain of Audino going. We are playing 2 Battle Compressor. It combines with Oblivion Wing and Mega Turbo by getting Dark Energy in the discard pile. It's also going to get rid of some of our nice one-offs that we play. Things like Skyla can always go into the discard pile quite early to give us extra outs into Ultra Ball, which gets us Hoopa, which gets us lots of Pokemon. So really nice to throw the one-off Skyla in there sometimes. Also Hex Maniac, Sycamore, all of these options are really good for the deck. So Battle Compressor thins us from a lot of things. This can be clunky sometimes, so having that little bit of thinning can help out a lot. 4 Trainer's Mail, just a big consistency booster. For Ultra Ball as well, so good with Hoopa. All the time we want to be searching out Hoopa, just great in so many situations. 4 VS Seeker, a full complement, combines with the Battle Compressor, and we have so many one-offs. There should be no surprises seeing 4 VS Seeker in here. So looking at some of the one-offs, we are playing AZ. It's a switching card, which is pretty big for us because we have a lot of chunky things. It can also be a heal option for us at times. It can even just move things. Most of the time it's just moving stuff for us. That's the main reason. But we can even draw cards with Shaymin EX by just picking it up and playing it back down. So AZ is very versatile. We see it in a lot of decks. We are playing Xerosic as well. Xerosic as well, very versatile card. Can get rid of Headringers on our dudes, which is always pretty awkward to see on there. I know some Trevenant players are going back to playing Headringer to try and make the Manaphy a lot worse, the Mineral Pump Manaphy that can pretty much shut down the Trevenant decks, so they're starting to move back in towards playing Headringers, 1 or 2 counts quite often now, so it's very important to have the Xerosic. Again, it's an option for getting rid of the tool on a Vileplume and then Lysandring it up, stuff like this. There's so many plays you can make with Xerosic, so really, really good card. The 1 Skyla I like playing in a lot of Mega Evolution decks as a one-of, especially with Battle Compressor. Makes so much sense, gives us more outs into Ultra Ball for the early Hoopa, gets us Spirit Links when we need them, gets us so many things, gets us into our one-off switch as well, which is big. So I like Skyla in here, very versatile, very good card as well. So we are playing high counts of Lysandre and Hex Maniac, you'll notice. A lot of the time decks are just playing the one-of and trying to get away with it. But I really like having the high count of Lysandre, especially with 2 Fright Night Yveltal. It's amazing against the Vileplume just having this option to make these sorts of plays multiple times with 2 physical Lysandres in the deck. Also just bring up anything chunky that's relying on Floatstone and you can get plenty of Pitch Black Split. Oh man, I stumbled on it again. Pitch Black Spear. I need to get that in my mind and slow down when I need to say it. We can get plenty of these attacks off. Wink wink. Just stalling stuff that rely on Floatstone, so Lysandre's really good for that. And as well, we're just great at killing or KOing Shaymin EXs. We can KO multiple in a turn sometimes with the incorporation of snipes, so we set up our snipes a lot nicer just via Lysandre. We end up using it a lot, and a lot of the time we just have to play a supporter for the turn to get that sniping effect, so having a physically high count of supporters is pretty useful for the deck. Next up we are using 2 Hex Maniac as well. It's pretty important for the deck to have multiple Hex Maniac because we need to get around the Safeguard Carbink if we are using Mega Audino. We do have non-EXs in the deck, of course. Also, we have to get around Giratina. So again, Hex Maniac is an option. We do again have ways around Giratina with non-EXs and stuff like that, but it's often best to be using Audino when we're able. And also, it's a good disruption card for so many reasons, and it's also just so good against Greninja. We're not as aggressive as other decks dealing with Greninja, but we can be aggro when we need to be. The 50 snipe is fairly relevant, but they are playing Rough Seas a lot of the time, so it doesn't always work out perfectly, so we want to have a lot of Hex Maniacs available to keep us in that game and make it awkward for them. And just the 3 of N, I think it's definitely enough as a 3 of, very consistent deck this, so it's working nicely, and combining it with 4 Professor Sycamore as well. Just dump and draw is still a really nice option for this deck, and it can also get rid of Dark Energy into the discard pile. So pretty good stuff all around. We are playing just the 3 Audino Spirit Link. I've never had to set up 3, so I think having 3 is the correct amount because you always want to have one more than you need, really. With Mega Evolutions, you never want to be too low, so we're just matching the 3-3 count here with the 3 Spirit Link. Bear in mind, a lot of the time Fright Knight's active, it's just how the deck functions. So a lot of the time Spirit Link isn't as useful as you would like, but you still want to have the option to use it. And yeah, I think 3 is the correct count. 2 Floatstone as well, just more switching options. Great on Zoroark if we can get him developed, so just really good stuff. Finally, the energy count is pretty simple. 4 double Colorless, functions so well with the Audino, the Pitch Black Spear, hey, I said it right, and the Shaymin EX and Zoroark, and even like retreating Hoopas if we have to, so it just works on everything amazingly well. And combining it with 6 Dark Energy to round out the energy. I think 10 is probably the correct amount with enough recycle from Oblivion Wing and Mega Turbo. So that is the list, and we will talk about some inclusions that we could be playing in here. So the first question is, what's the point in playing Mega Audino? Why is this just better than a Yveltal deck? Well, it offers a whole lot of different angles than the Yveltal deck would do. I know a lot of Yveltal players are just not playing the EX at all at the moment, or just playing a one-of, so a one-of could sneak its way into here as well. White Cyclone, still an amazing, efficient attack, and Evil Wall can blow up big things. It's really good against the Aqua Box deck as well for getting knockouts on the grenade hammering Seismitoads, because they commit a lot of energy these days. So one Yveltal EX could sneak in here, but at the moment I'm happy with just the Audinos. Also, we could play our own Seismitoad EX. Any deck that's playing 4 double Colorless has to consider Seismitoad EX as a factor, especially because we are playing 1 switch, 2 Floatstone, and Hoopa. We can get into a one-off Seismitoad EX quite easily just to slow things down. The reason I'm not playing Seismitoad is because we're not playing any Fighting Fury Belts. It's way better against stuff like Night March if we have Fighting Fury Belt, and we already have options against Night March anyway with these 2 cards. And eventually when we get going, having the high HP plus the snipe is just so good against Night March. We can actually race for prizes against them, so I don't think Seismitoad EX is the correct card for this deck, but it's something you could bear in mind. Also, if you're thinking of if you're not liking the 1-1 Zoroark and you're paranoid about the weakness that we have, we could use a 1-1 Altaria line to mean that we have no weakness on our Audinos, so that is an option. However, I think the best option for mitigating weakness for this deck is actually Shadow Circle. If you're super paranoid about the fighting decks, if it is becoming more and more tier 1 and you're still trying to battle on in there with Mega Audino, you could play 1 or 2 or even 3 Shadow Circle if you feel it's really necessary, because it's only things with Dark Energy attached. It doesn't have to be a Dark type Pokemon, so you could play plenty of Shadow Circle. At the same time, you have to bear in mind that the Zygarde Regirock deck themselves probably play a high stadium count to complement Zygarde's first attack, so bear in mind you're going to have to be in a stadium more for the most part anyway, but just having any stadium to replace other people's is awkward, so at the moment we're choosing not to have a stadium, but it is a line that you could look to take. So yeah, I think this Mega Audino deck has options against a lot of things. I like having options against item locking decks. Having enough dark stuff in here can help us challenge the Trevenant decks. Having the 2 Fright Knight Yveltal gives us good plays against the Vespiquen Vileplume. More Seismitoad decks are becoming the Aqua Box style, and I feel we can take that on a lot better now that they're not all about the energy denial. I think we would still really struggle against Seismitoad Giratina, but that's like the least played item knock variant out of them all, so that bodes well for us. And then up against Night March, I feel I've so far had a positive record because of the amount of sniping and just having Oblivion Wing at our disposal when we need to just take the quick knockouts and keep pressurizing each turn. Against Greninja, the high Hex Maniac count helps. So again, this deck just somehow is accumulating quite a few wins for me because it just has a lot of options. The Dark type stuff, the support that Dark gives you, just really molds nicely with the Mega Audino, which is an inherently quite good card actually. The snipe is just such a big deal, so we'll hop into some games now and hopefully we can show off Mega Audino in all of its glory. You can see I've got a lot of starred decks right now. I'm testing a lot right now, and I'll be showing off some more lists very soon. I'm hoping to get a few out daily, at least for the next week or so. So look forward to that and stick to the channel. We have found ourselves a game, and we're not too worried about most things. Like I say, Seismitoad Giratina is one of the most awkward matchups. but that's the case for a lot of decks. No one really likes playing against Seismitoad Giratina. That's kind of the point. But for the rest of the time, we have pretty good options, and we have a pretty good start here. We have Yveltal. We're going first, so we can hold Audino. And we're up against Mega Manectric. Mega Manectric, ooh, with Headringers. That's something to bear in mind. Mega Manectric shouldn't actually be that difficult. I know they can max potion off the 110 damage we do, but at the same time, they have to put down a lot of Shaymin EX and Hoopa, so we have a pretty good start here as well. We'll put down an Audino and an Energy. We don't actually need Hoopa too much here. I might just discard Hoopa, you know. I'm going to Battle Compress first, regardless. We will put an Energy in. We'll also put in the Xerosic in case we have the chance to get rid of a Spirit Link on one of his Manectrics. It can also get rid of Headringers on our own Audino. And what else should we put in? Maybe Hex Maniac? Yeah, we can put in Hex, I think. Just one Dark Energy? Maybe two if we are going for Oblivion Wings, but I need to draw into another one. We'll leave it at one for now. I don't really need Hoopa here. If I just Ultra Ball, like Hoopa gives me one more Audino. I think I'm fine just grabbing Shaymin EX instead. We'll discard the Sycamore because we've already got the Mega. So instead we'll just grab Shaymin EX. And we'll play Shaymin EX down. Looking for Spirit Link more than anything else here. And we do hit Spirit Link. So we'll put that on right now to protect ourselves from Headringer, which is great. I think I can hold the rest because next turn I can Mega attach and just play N, looking to find like Floatstone or a Switch or something. So pretty good start for us. And we didn't even need Hoopa as well. That's really good. So we see a Battle Compressor from the opponent. The Mega Manectric deck is very similar actually to this. But having this snipe could be a real great way to win this matchup. So that's what we're going to be banking on. Trying to take extra prizes here or there on Shaymin EXs that he will most likely be forced to bench. We see him discard 2 Lightning and a Birch. So maybe he's holding cards that he doesn't want to discard. It's interesting that he plays Birch still, even though N is a factor in the format. We also see an Ultra Ball, potentially for Hoopa at this point. Ooh, just a Shaymin. Interesting. We see the manual attachment to the active. We do see a Headringer, so it's good that we did find Spirit Link. And what else are we going to see here? A second Battle Compressor does get played. And we'll see what he wants to discard here. Maybe just some techie supporters will be hitting the discard pile. Maybe 1 or 2 more energy if he's feeling greedy. But we'll see. Looks like he's having a good old look through the deck. Oh, he plays Garbodor in his list. That doesn't affect us too much, actually. There's a VS Seeker for the Birch's observations. Interesting that he had the chance to either take the AZ that he then put in the discard pile, or he chose to not Battle Compress with his second one to get like the Sycamore. So he was definitely trying to protect something in his hand. Most likely just a Mega. He did flip heads on the Birch as well, which is kind of cool. He does have another Compressor at this point. You know, likely Hex Maniac and maybe his last Compressor if he's playing a full 4. Some Manectrics mainly play 3, I think, in my experience. We'll see what he wants to get rid of here. Likely just tech supporters at this point. So he's done a good job of thinning his deck right now with all of these Compressors. He's had a pretty slow turn though. Oh wow, he got rid of 1 Manectric. Skyla and Huh. It's bizarre. Okay. Well, we can Mega Evolve. And we can start putting pressure on as long as we get a... as long as we find a switching card. I'm just going to find the Zorua here. We have a free moment to try and develop it, but Zoroark is prized, right? Okay, we'll just get Fright Knight instead. Fright Knight's actually a good option for us to deny Mega Evolutions at random points in the game. And this way we get more cards via Sycamore. So, looking for Floatstone more than anything here. We do Whiff, which is kind of a shame. Trainer's Mail could save us, but no. We can take Battle Compressor, I think. What is our hand? 2 VS Seekers. Battle Compressor could help us put that Skyla in the discard pile, or we could just take it. Sure, we'll take Skyla instead. So we've bought... Our opponent's got a turn, which is kind of frustrating. So we'll just pass. Whiffing on 3 potential targets from a Sycamore. But we still have plenty of deck, so can't complain too much. We have 2 Floatstone and Switch as our potential outs. Had I had Battle Compressed away AZ rather than Hex, that could have been a line that I misstepped on, which is kind of sad. Always have to analyse your plays from the very start of the game. So we see a VS Seeker for Skyla. Skyla will get maybe Spirit Link or just an Ultra Ball for Hoopa, potentially. Just a Spirit Link, it looks like. So the opponent is going to be getting a lot of energy back. And the first knockout of the game as well. Which is not fun. But, there we go. So, we could like Lysandre and Magical Symphony. No, I think I want to deal with the active one first before anything else. Do I want to Skyla out something like an Ultra Ball here just to find another Audino to start powering up? Or is this going to be the option that I take? 110. It's not great. Yeah, we'll go for an Ultra Ball here. Yeah. We'll just discard our supporters because we have 2 VS Seeker. I'd be tempted to go for Fright Knight just to try and like deny him going Mega, but I think right now we can win just by overpowering with Mega Audino. And we use the Skyla for the turn, so we are doing the extra snipe. And I am going to put it on the Shaymin EX, I think. Even though it's not hugely efficient, I think it's irrelevant putting 50 here right now. I think it's just better putting it on the Shaymin EX. Bear in mind he could be playing Rough Seas as well. And most likely is, to be fair. So there's another Spirit Link. There is Rough Seas. And we see a Floatstone to the Shaymin EX. Probably a Sycamore. Oh, just a Birch. Gets Tails this time. It's good for us. Hopefully he misses something like Max Potion. Max Potion is the biggest thing that he has available to make it awkward for us to win the game. Just a Turbo Bolt. That's good for us. So, we play into Max Potion so badly. I could VS Seeker Lysandre, try and like get both Manectrics heavily damaged. If I put this up to 50, Rough Seas gets it back to... This isn't good. I'm playing heavily into Max Potion, which is pretty awkward. How can I try and deny the Max Potion? I can't really. I could Xerosic. Xerosic seems pretty cool, actually. That stops him at least, like, retreating out and just doing another Turbo Bolt and sort of protecting this. He can go into this and do Assault Laser, of course, but... pretty awkward. I think I definitely want to get the Symphony on this thing, because even with Rough Seas, it still goes into range of this one's Magical Symphony, so it might just be Skyla instead for our own Spirit Link. Let's just try and keep up damage-wise, and if he's able to get the Max Potions, fair play to him. I think we kind of need to take the risk. Don't really like playing into Max Potion too much, but with the Birch Tails flip, it's tempted me to go for this line. So at this point with the Rough Seas, this isn't really worth doing. We'll continue to go for Shaymin EX. There is the Rough Seas. So now it's got that perfect 50 for next turn's Lysandre play. As long as there's no Max Potion. He could Max Potion retreat and Turbo Bolt 2 energy that he loses back onto this one. That's like a game-winning play for him if he's able to. VS Seeker. Oh, AZ is so big. Oh dear. Wait, what? Definitely should have done this. Definitely should have done this. Unless, okay, now we can dig for Max Potion, I guess. Okay. It's not bad. Raikou. Flash energy, it looks like. Yep. Will he retreat? No, surely he won't retreat. He has to force me to Lysandre. There's an Ultra Ball. Maybe he's digging really hard. Oh no, he could just be doing it to get rid of the lightning energy. But at the same time, he's got a 1-card hand. Yeah, he chooses no target here. And Turbo Bolt to accelerate the Raikou. Good plays, good plays. We can take a 4-prize turn though next turn. Or this turn. I think I'm just going to play out my entire hand and rely on the 4 prizes that we take. Again, don't really... I could take the 4 prizes. I think I need to just because I have no hand. This is also really good for like long term. But at the same time, he could just promote Raikou anyway. And he likely will promote Raikou next turn, so... Magical Symphony, boys. Putting in the work. 4 prizes. Trainer's Mail, Fright Knight, not bad. Floatstone, another Trainer's Mail, not bad, not bad. 2 Trainer's Mail is potentially a lot of options. So he promotes the Mega, but he does have free retreat, of course, so... There's another attachment to the Raikou. We see a Lysandre for Shaymin EX. So he's actually just a Lysandre away now for dealing with the Yveltal. So we might have to dig for an AZ this turn. Wow, this is getting big. 5, 6, 6 times 2, 120. Yeah, we definitely need an AZ this turn, I think. A Judge, not a Judge, an N could be pretty good. Put him down to 1 card, actually. Make it very unlikely for him to get the Lysandre. The Spirit Link is tempting, but it doesn't play around enough. We have to take the N. We take that first, and then we have our second Trainer's Mail, which could get us into that Spirit Link. Just Ultra Ball. Do I take Ultra Ball to limit the outs? Get rid of the Fright Nut and the Float Stone? Yeah, we'll do that. Because we're only getting 2 cards from N ourselves. And we'll take no target. Oh, maybe I should have taken a target because we're still playing into Lysandre to lose the game. So I probably should have taken the non-EX Yveltal there. What, just draw it now from N? I'll be sad. We didn't, so that's good. So he needs to have Lysandre to win the game. If no Lysandre, we're still in a bit of trouble because this Raikou is doing work. Because the Rough Seas heals it. So we can't one-hit KO this Raikou. Or this Manectric. The Rough Seas have been so big, maybe it makes us want to play a Stadium just to deny stuff like this. But at the same time, Mega Manectric isn't too popular right now because it doesn't really win enough against stuff like Night March. Just the Turbo Bolt for 110. So we're on a 1-turn clock now. And we get more energy. We can already do the wave. I think I might retreat first, because we can't win this turn. We have to sort of deny the prizes, and then we'll reattach to this Mega. I think that's better than putting it on Yveltal. Yep. Rats. Rapscallion. We didn't hit. We needed to get into another Mega. We needed to get our last Mega and all the other stuff. Is there anything else we can do here? We can't retreat again, so we'll just wave goodbye to our opponent as we've lost the game. So we don't have the best Mega Manectric matchup. That's actually my first loss with this deck in like 10 games. So that's pretty sad. But at the same time, like I keep saying, Mega Manectric is not the most popular deck, and Mega Man should lose to a whole bunch of others. So we're not trying to metagame around Mega Man, so I don't really mind losing to it too much, if that makes sense. So we'll move on and hope for a more meta deck to show off Audino. That nice 4-prize turn was cool, but Rough Seas was too much to deal with. Maybe something like Delinquent, or like I was saying, just playing Shadow Circle could be an option for the deck. And we're up against Tamu next, which is pretty cool. I believe this is Laura. Let's say hi. And again, we have a pretty nice hand, so that's cool. Looks like it's the Aqua Box deck. And this is a pretty cool matchup to play. The Rough Seas again will be a factor, so we have to be careful about where we are putting our snipes. And we want to get use out of our items while we can, because Quaking Punch is a factor. As long as this is the Aqua Box deck. It looked like it was from the opening mulligan. And we do see Seismitoad EX, so everything expected so far. We will... I think I want to Hex this turn, because I can discard this and this, get the Hoopa, get the Spirit Link on. Yeah, we'll Hex this turn. As long as we have Hoopa in here, we do indeed. We have 2 of the Mega. 3, 2. We have our 1/1 Zoroark. That's really good in this matchup. So let's grab, I think I just want 2 Audino and 1 Mega here. We can go Audino, Spirit Link, attach, Hex and pass. Yep, that's best. There's no need to dig with Shaymin EX because it just gives us more discards with Sycamore. We've already got a pretty ideal turn, so I want to commit the Spirit Link because we have items right now. It's just where I want to commit this energy. I could be knocked out with a Grenade Hammer turn 1, but if we're hexing, I think it's unlikely. Is the damage relevant enough? Not if he has if she has rough seas. I think I want it on the bench anyway. We'll hex because this deck is very reliant on Hoopa, Shaymin, and Manaphy, so we'll try and slow down Tamu a little bit here. We're going to see a Trainer's Mail. Followed by a second Trainer's Mail. Something I could have actually done was... No, don't worry about that. No, it's fine. We see an attachment to Seismitoad. The Shaymin comes down just before the Sycamore. That actually feeds us Shaymin EXs, which I like. And there is the Manaphy and the pass. So Hex did a good job. We can now Mega Evolve up. We'll play ourselves a Mega Turbo. And we'll play Professor Sycamore. We hit Floatstone Energy, which is great. Could also get an Ultra Ball in here for a Shaymin. What else do I need? Maybe like a Spirit Link is probably the only other thing I need. Yveltal, Fright Night Yveltal is something I will bench. So if we bench this, Ultra Ball for Shaymin EX, and then we just keep the VS Seeker, but then we use VS Seeker at the end of the turn. Yeah, we'll go for that. So looking for Spirit Link more than anything else here. We do have a Trainer's Mail. And we hit a Spirit Link, hooray. I'll play it this turn because we're playing around Seismitoad. I don't need to VS Seeker right now, even though we're likely to get Quaking Punched because I already have N and Sycamore. So we'll just go for Magical Symphony. We have used a supporter, so we will be able to get the snipe on the Shaymin EX, which is cool. Not going to put it on Manaphy. It has 10 more HP, so it's more relevant if we do go for pitch black spears instead. Also, there is Rough Seas. So we see an attachment and a Fighting Fury Belt. Still not great right now. We're going to see an Ultra Ball. Maybe now the Hoopa comes into play, or potentially just grabbing another Seismitoad. Oh, okay, just a Shaymin. I need to stop predicting what people are doing. It's hard to do when you can't see their hand. It's a lot easier when you're on, when you can see your opponent's hand, like last weekend and the weekend before that. We see a Regice. That's something that's awkward to play around. We see an Energy Switch as well. Regice could be coming into play. And we're going to see a Professor Sycamore. So my best answer to Regice is actually Zoroark, but I can't get it into play just yet. So I'm going to have to start setting up Fright Night. I don't have any Lysandre available just yet, which is also a pain. We're going to see the Super Rod getting back a lot of energy, so hopefully no more Max Elixirs this turn. Our opponent has not played any. Oh, the scoop. Oh, wow. Why, Tamu? Why? I'm going to flame you now, IRL. Okay, we'll get one more game in with Audino. So, we dealt with the Aqua Box deck just because the turn 1 Hex was brutally good for us. So yeah, some good pressure from Mega Audino. That was cool. That was really cool. We will find another game, and hopefully it again will be a thriller. The Mega Manectric one was a weird matchup. Hopefully we find a standard deck that actually doesn't quit on us. So we have Sobby Duck, And we are calling the coin flip. Man, I'm stumbling on my words all day today. I'm not drunk, I promise. So we start Zorua. And again, great hand. This deck just has good opening hands because of Hoopa. Such a big consistency card. And looks like we're up against... what's it called? What's the word? Vespiquen Vileplume. There we go. So we're going to use the Hoopa while we can. Don't want to be benched, of course. This is one way we can lose the game. Don't want that to happen. We'll get plenty of Audino, and we'll get... Do I want Shaymin here? Depends what I'm going for. Skyla could get me... Float Stone for this Zorua would be pretty cool. Oh, we do have a switch though instead. Okay, what am I getting from Skyla if I play Skyla? Ultra Ball for Fright Knight. Maybe just Xerosic. Just Skyla for Xerosic instead. And then we can... And then Vespiquen back Skyla, so then we can Skyla into a Lysandre. That's a very long-term play, but it's a great way to deal with a Float Stoned Vileplume just to insta-win the game. Okay, we're thinking a few turns ahead here, but it might be the best option. The only thing that's bad about it is if we get like red carded or judged. 2, 4, 5. I think we'll Shaymin for 1 just to put something onto the bench. Hex Maniac is amazing. Just to buy ourselves an extra top deck more than anything else. Do I want to grab energy this turn? Not too much, but do the wave is good. Sycamore, then try and Vespiquen back a Hex if we can draw into it. Yeah, let's do that. There's a lot of good stuff there, and the Hex is tempting. But we've got some good stuff off of this, so still no energy though. Lysandre is pretty big. Yeah, we'll take Lysandre for sure. Have to threaten that. Where do I put the Spirit Link here? In my experience, they've not been great at knocking out EXs, but at the same time, let's just protect because we have no energy. There's no point in just going Mega just to be knocked out. So I won't play these Ultra Balls. We already have the Zoroark, so all we really need is to draw into energy now. And we'll see if they can develop the... Oh, okay. It's not Vespiquen Vileplume. It's the Vespiquen Zoroark deck. That's a whole lot less scary. Hooray. Good thing we didn't Hex then. We could have made a fool of ourselves. Damn bluff. The Combi unknown bluff. So cheeky. So it will definitely be awkward for them to get the knockout on Audino. Oh wow, it plays Gallade and Delinquent. Interesting. Interesting that their first option was to put Delinquent in. Huh. Delinquent could be awkward this turn, but what stadiums are they playing? Weird. Weird decision. Let's see what else they can come up with here. Maybe the unknown for a card. Maybe they're thinking about some sequencing. We've had some good setups with this deck though. As you've seen, every time we've been setting up quite nicely. And if it was against Vespiquen Vileplume, we have the Lysandre plus Fright Knight combo in our hand right now. So you can see how we can play around these sorts of decks, which is just good to have in mind. There is a Float Stone going on the Yveltal. Before a Sycamore, maybe? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, they have the hidden ball trick. There's another unknown. Another farewell letter. Missing energy was kind of big. meant that we could like do the wave to knock out a combi. Oh, another Lysandre's so bad. I think we might just end our turn here. Yep. Filled up the bench quite quickly, expecting it to be a different deck, which isn't great, but we need to draw into Vespiquen or N or Sycamore or something of the sort. Maybe rely on our opponent to do an N for us. That would be lovely. Double Colorless onto combi. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon in the discard pile. Not very much, so we don't have to be too fearful. Mega Evolutions are always quite awkward for Vespiquen players. Ooh, they had to get rid of a double Colorless. Good for us. The Gallade is actually going to be really awkward if they can ever get it out. Because it can run through everything. So I think we have to keep Zoroark around, just waiting in the wings to maybe deal with a Gallade as and when. So yeah, good thing we got that developed nice and quickly. But right now it's all about survival because we're in a sticky situation with this hand. Potentially I just Ultra Ball next turn to try and get a Mega Evolution so it's one less top deck. Could have done it last turn, but with that Delinquent around, I kind of want to play around Delinquent a bit better. Otherwise we could get wrecked. So we see another Battle Compressor. Starting to get a lot of targets in there, but we're still quite chunky. So I'm not too threatened right now. They're playing Bunnelby and Jirachi. I'm happy to see Jirachi hit the discard pile because we're very focused on double Colorless energy ourselves. So just a Be Revenge for 110. Ooh, Trainer's Mail. Do I Ultra Ball first? Decision. I think I do Ultra Ball first and just kind of go all in. All in on the Trainer's Mail. Save me, Trainer's Mail, please. Ultra Ball could mean that we could hold this now and then go for a Shaymin EX next turn. Yeah, we have to. Oh, we could get wrecked by a Delinquent. Makes me sad. Pass. There was somewhat of an argument to play the Lysandre here and just discard whatever we top deck, but we could top deck something good. And also if it's something bad, we can then Mega Evolve this and spare it from the Ultra Ball instead. So we've already gone for our Mega Turbo, which is awkward. So when this gets knocked out, we can't instantly respond with a Mega Audino. So pretty awkward times for us here. It could be that I go into Fright Night and Lysandre this up to buy us some time, because this is being pretty aggressive right now. Be Revenge for 120 to finish us off. I think I will promote Fright Night, and I think my play is Lysandre this thing up with the Float Stone. Oh, an N. N is tempting. N is so tempting. Is there an AZ in the discard? There is not an AZ in the discard. I think we just buy turns here. How much damage are they doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they're 10 shy, even if they can attach retreat out of this. Okay, we'll just do this. I still have the option to Ultra Ball for a Shaymin and have a more aggressive turn. I think I do need this sort of tempo. Okay. Oh, it's easy Lysandre KOs for them though. Lysandre's actually really bad for us. They can like Lysandre deal with this and they can retreat because Yeah, this wasn't great. Yeah. Okay, well, this is the decision. Decisions. I think I might just go Mega here. It's too many Shaymin EXs for him to just wipe the board clear. We'll just Mega and pass. It ends the turn because of Fright Night. Oh dear. So hopefully no AZ or Lysandre. There is Compressor or Hex as well. Is Hex in the discard? Yeah, Hex is in the discard. So is Lysandre. So plenty of ways he can get around Fright Night, but it's just an awkward thing for him to do. And then we can end them when they have 2 card, like they can only take 2 prizes or whatever, or they're left to 2 prizes left. God, my mind's all over the place today. Whoa, Zeb Striker. They played a Zeb Striker in their deck. Cool. Plays around the Jirachi promo, and it's good against Trevenant. Let me see a Super Rod. How many energy do they have? Just the 1? Maybe they're just getting back Pokemon at this point. The Super Rod now is super confusing. Even if they were doing a Professor Sycamore, they might wanted to have not played the Super Rod here. Maybe just the Combi Vespiquen Unknown, or Combi Vespiquen Bunnelby maybe? Huh. We shall see. Ooh, I was close. Combi Vespiquen Jirachi. Shaymin EX comes down. That's an unknown. Really would not appreciate a Delinquent. It'd make me sad. But at the same time, they have so many better plays than Delinquent this turn. Lysandring Shaymin EX is his best. Wow, he couldn't do anything. She couldn't do anything, sorry. That's great for us. It's really good. And they have to attach the energy to the benched Shaymin, which is far from ideal. Spirit Link is pretty bad. We shall just play the end here. There's all our energy. That's where it was hiding. Attach pass. What else could I search out that helps me too much? Not much. I can float stone the Zoroark. That seems good. Ultra Ball looks pretty clean, but what can I really get that helps me too much? I don't think a lot. We'll pass. I think we're going to need N to balance us out this game, because we're not really racing nicely at all. We did buy a nice turn there. Ah, there's the AZ. So they have found the route to retreat. And Vespiquen now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 to 110, which is perfect. So they are able to take a prize, go down to 3. We'll go into free retreat Zorua. Ah, finally. Double Colorless is nice. And now do we start searching out another Audino? Do we have to Sycamore this turn? If we don't Sycamore this turn... No, I do want to Sycamore this turn because I want to Lysandre next turn. If I put 50 on this Vespi, I could deal with like 2 in 2 turns. Like we knock out this one, put 50 here, then we do a Lysandre play next turn, knock out a Shaymin and also deal with a Vespiquen all at once. See, it's all working out nicely. We'll compress. I think these targets... I want to keep those 2N because they're going to be good. We'll do these. So we have used a supporter. Have to keep reminding yourself that you use a supporter every time because the snipe is so big that if you miss it, it's just awful. First prize of the game. Double Colorless. That's where they were all hiding. All at the bottom of the deck, it looks like. All those energy that we've been whiffing on. So, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Still going to be a mission for him to knock out the Audino. Potentially a Lysandre will come in on the Zoroark or the Shaymin. Ah, no Lysandre. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh dear. Jirachi. Oh, Stardust would be so annoying this turn. Ah, Stardust. Boo. I think I can be aggressive though. I can Lysandre, take 2 prizes. The Muscle Band is actually really nice maths if he were able to keep a Vespiquen around. Sorry. But they're not going to be able to. Lysandre is so humongous. Right, do I get rid of the Floatstone or the energy one? I think I get rid of the Floatstone one, right? And the Symphony is amazing here. Taking 3 prizes is huge. And we're just... oh, we get the VS Seeker as well, so we're a Lysandre away from victory, and our opponent has no real threats other than the stall approach with Stardust. Unless they have like a tech one of a Forest of Giant Plants, which would make me very sad. I think they need to AZ this turn. Just a Stardust. We win. Audino doing the work, even with a horribly slow start. We got the energy in the end, and that's all we need. This deck is so amazing at KOing Shaymin EXs. So great. And like magic, we win. Boom. So, that was Mega Audino, putting in the work. Test it out yourselves. I really like this build that I've got going right now. I think it's quite unorthodox and it can be clunky at times, but at the same time, a lot of awkward things for people to play around, and that's always a nice thing for certain decks. And just being surrounded by these nice dark types that are very versatile on their own just makes the deck kind of threatening from lots of different situations. So let me know what you guys thought about Mega Audino. Is it maybe the most underrated EX in the set? Probably. Let me know what you guys thought about the deck as well. I've been Joe from OmniPoke, and I will see you guys next time.